Hello, and welcome back to Dream Room. If you want moving water in your garden, patio, or balcony, you do not need an outdoor electrical outlet, an electrician, or a $300 stone fountain. With a small solar pump, one waterproof container, and a few things you may already have at home, you can create a peaceful water feature for less than $40. And some of the best ones take less than an hour to build. That matters if your outdoor space is small. Maybe you have a narrow backyard, a 6 by 8 foot patio, a rented deck, or only one sunny corner beside your home office window. Maybe you love decorating, but do not want to drill into walls, run electrical cables across the lawn, or store another bulky garden accessory all winter. You may also be working with limited hand strength and simple tools: a screwdriver, a pair of scissors, a few zip ties, perhaps a small drill, but only when it actually makes the project easier. That is exactly who these 6 ideas are for. Instead of buying more things, we are going to look at what is already around us. An old ceramic bowl, terracotta pots, recycled jars, bamboo, a forgotten tea kettle, even something left over from a bathroom renovation. Add sunlight and circulating water, and suddenly those ordinary objects become part of the landscape. There is another advantage. A small fountain can do much more than decorate an empty corner. Place one beside your favorite chair, and the sound of water can soften traffic noise. Put one outside a bedroom or home office window, and that blank view becomes something alive. Add smooth river stones, herbs, ferns, weathered wood, or a few simple plants, and even a rented patio can start to feel intentional instead of temporary. Today, I will show you 6 completely different designs, from a 5-minute pebble spring to a terracotta cascade, a bamboo rain feature, and one final fountain made from an object almost every home has had in the bathroom. That last one creates surprisingly convincing rainfall. More importantly, I will show you where each design works best, what you can substitute, how to keep the footprint small, and where your money actually needs to go. So before you buy another expensive garden decoration, look around your kitchen, garage, shed, or storage cabinet. Your next fountain may already be sitting there. And if you enjoy practical decorating ideas for small homes, patios, bedrooms, home offices, and gardens using simple, affordable materials, subscribe to Dream Room. Now let us start with the easiest fountain of all, one you can build in about 20 minutes. 1. The 5-minute solar pebble spring, best for tiny patios and balconies. Let us begin with the easiest project, because if you have never built a water feature before, this is the one I would recommend first. You need only 3 basic things: a waterproof bowl, a small solar pump, and enough stones to hide the pump. That is it. Look around your home before buying anything. A 12 to 16-inch ceramic bowl, an old planter without drainage holes, a deep terracotta saucer, or even a small galvanized basin can work beautifully. For a narrow patio or apartment balcony, choose a container that is wide rather than very deep. A bowl only 4 to 6 inches deep can still create a generous surface of moving water without becoming heavy or difficult to move. Place the solar pump in the center. Run its cable toward the back, then cover the pump with smooth river stones while leaving the water intake exposed. Do not pack the stones tightly around it. The pump needs room to pull water in freely. Now add one flat stone directly above the fountain nozzle. Instead of shooting water high into the air, adjust the pump so the water rises only 1 or 2 inches and gently bubbles across the stone. This creates a softer sound, reduces splashing, and helps keep water inside the bowl on windy afternoons. It is also much better for a small space. If your patio is only 6 by 8 feet, a tall fountain can feel oversized. A low bubbling spring feels calm and intentional, especially beside a reading chair, near a bedroom window, or in the corner of a home office balcony. Now comes the decorating part. Use 3 textures rather than 10. Smooth river pebbles, 1 piece of weathered wood, and perhaps a small fern, thyme plant, or ornamental grass beside the bowl. That restraint is important. Small spaces become cluttered very quickly. And here is a trick many people overlook. The fountain itself does not have to sit in full sun. If you buy a solar pump with a separate panel and a 6 to 10-foot cable, the bowl can stay in a cooler, partially shaded corner while the panel sits several feet away where it receives stronger sunlight. This makes the feature more comfortable to sit beside and can slow water evaporation. Expect to spend roughly $12 to $25 if you already own the bowl and stones. Even starting from nothing, it should remain comfortably below our $40 limit. Build time? About 10 to 20 minutes. No permanent installation, no electrical outlet. And if you rent your home, you can simply empty the bowl and carry the entire fountain with you. Start small, because once you hear that first gentle bubbling beside your chair, you may realize that the most peaceful corner of your garden did not need more furniture at all. It simply needed water. And next, we are going to turn an old tea kettle into something that looks as if it is pouring forever. 2. The Vintage Kettle Endless Pour, a thrift store centerpiece. Now let us take something that may already be sitting unused in a kitchen cabinet, garage, or thrift store box and turn it into a garden centerpiece. An old tea kettle is almost perfect for this. You can also use a metal watering can, enamel pitcher, or ceramic teapot. The important thing is that the container has a spout and can hold water. The illusion is simple. The kettle sits above a basin at a slight angle, looking as though it is pouring continuously. A small solar pump hidden below sends water through a thin tube into the kettle. Once the water rises high enough, it flows naturally from the spout and falls back into the basin. Then the cycle starts again. For the support, do not overcomplicate it. A reclaimed wooden post, a sturdy bamboo pole, an existing fence post, or even a strong plant stand can work. Position the kettle about 12 to 24 inches above the water surface. That gives you enough height to see the stream clearly without creating excessive splash. Run the tubing behind the support so it almost disappears from view. That small detail matters. When the tube is hidden, your eye sees an old kettle mysteriously pouring water forever, rather than a pump system. The character of the fountain depends on the vessel you choose. A weathered copper kettle feels traditional and slightly English. A white enamel pitcher with a dark rim gives a farmhouse garden a familiar, relaxed look. A floral ceramic teapot feels softer and more whimsical, especially near roses, lavender, or a small seating corner. This is also a wonderful project if you have spent years collecting useful household items and now want to simplify. Instead of storing an old kettle because it feels too good to throw away, give it a purpose again. Around the basin, keep the planting natural. A few trailing herbs, a small fern, or low-growing greenery can soften the edge and help the fountain feel like part of the garden rather than an object simply placed on top of it. It works especially well beside a garden bench, near your morning coffee chair, or in a narrow courtyard where a large fountain would feel too heavy. If you already own the main container and basin, the biggest expense will usually be the solar pump. Expect the complete project to cost around $15 to $30. Build time is roughly 45 minutes to 1 hour. Nothing needs to be wired into the house. Nothing needs to be permanent. And when afternoon sunlight catches that small stream of water leaving an old kettle, a forgotten household object suddenly becomes the detail everyone notices. Next, we will create a completely different look using one of the simplest natural materials in any garden center, terracotta. 3. The Terracotta Stair-Step Cascade. Warm, natural, and easy to repair. Now we move from metal to something warmer and more natural, terracotta. For this fountain, you need 3 terracotta pots or bowls in graduating sizes, a small hidden reservoir, a solar pump, and a few flat stones or bricks to create different levels. The idea is simple. The smallest bowl sits highest. Water flows from there into the middle bowl, then down into the largest one, before returning to the reservoir below. The solar pump quietly sends it back to the top. You get a continuous cascade without electricity from the house. Start by placing the largest container at the bottom. Behind or inside it, use an overturned pot, a brick, or a flat stone to raise the second bowl several inches. Then repeat the process for the smallest bowl. Do not make the levels too tall. A drop of roughly 3 to 5 inches between each bowl usually creates a pleasant trickling sound without throwing water outside the fountain. And this is where you can adjust the personality of the feature. Keep the drops short and the sound remains gentle, perfect, beside a reading chair or outside a bedroom window. Increase the distance slightly and you get a stronger splash that can help soften the sound of nearby traffic or neighbors. Terracotta works especially well in small gardens because it already belongs visually with plants and soil. Its warm orange-brown surface sits naturally beside herbs, weathered wood, stone, and greenery. As it ages outdoors, the surface can become softer and less perfect, which often makes the feature feel even more established. For a small patio, place the cascade against a wall or in a corner rather than directly in the center. This leaves your walking space open. If you enjoy growing herbs, surround the base with thyme, creeping rosemary, or another low plant. Keep spreading mint in its own separate pot so it does not take over nearby planting areas. The fountain does not need complicated decoration. The terracotta already provides color and texture. This is also a practical choice for renters or anyone who likes rearranging the garden from season to season. Nothing has to be fixed permanently to a wall, fence, or patio. If one bowl eventually cracks, you replace only that piece rather than rebuilding the entire fountain. Expect the total cost to fall between about $18 and $35, depending on how many pots and supports you already have. Build time is roughly 30 to 45 minutes. 3 bowls, a little height, moving water, and an ordinary patio corner suddenly begins to feel like a small Mediterranean courtyard. Next, we will use containers that normally go straight into the recycling bin and turn them into a vertical staircase of moving water and light. 4. The recycled jar water staircase, turning everyday containers into moving light. Now let us use something most of us normally throw away: empty food containers. For this fountain, collect 3 to 5 sturdy clear plastic jars, wide-mouth food containers, or small metal cups. You will also need a reclaimed wooden board, old garden ladder, or narrow shelf, plus a shallow reservoir and a small solar pump. The idea is to build upward instead of outward. That makes this project especially useful if you have a narrow side yard, a balcony wall, or a patio where every square foot already matters. Arrange the containers like steps. The first sits highest. The second is positioned slightly lower and to one side. Continue until the final container sits above the reservoir. Water is pumped to the top container. Once that container fills, the water gently spills into the next one, then the next, before finally returning to the basin below. No complicated plumbing needs to be visible. And if drilling glass makes you uncomfortable, do not use glass. Sturdy plastic kitchen containers give you a similar transparent effect and are much easier to work with. You can also position wide-mouth containers so water simply overflows naturally rather than cutting holes into them. That keeps the project simple. The most beautiful part appears when sunlight reaches the moving water. Clear containers catch afternoon light and send shifting reflections onto the fence or wall behind them. Instead of decorating that narrow surface with another sign or hanging ornament, you get light, movement, and water at the same time. Add pale gravel or a few smooth stones inside the containers if you want more texture. Keep everything else restrained. This design works especially well against an unused fence section, along a balcony wall, or beside a narrow walkway where a traditional round fountain would take up too much room. There is another practical advantage. Build the main containers around waist height. If bending or kneeling has become less comfortable, you can refill, clean, and adjust most of this fountain while standing. That small design choice can make maintenance much easier. The materials are inexpensive too. If the containers come from your recycling bin and the wood is leftover pallet or fence material, your main purchase may only be the solar pump and a few basic fittings. Expect to spend about $10 to $30. Build time is approximately 1 hour. What began as 3 or 4 ordinary containers now becomes a narrow vertical feature that gives a blank wall movement without sacrificing valuable floor space. And next, we will keep building upward, but replace recycled containers with bamboo for a softer, more natural Zen-inspired water feature. 5. The Bamboo Rain Chain Fountain, a small space Zen corner. Now let us change the feeling completely. Instead of ceramic, metal, or recycled containers, this fountain uses bamboo to create a narrow vertical feature with a softer, more natural character. You need several short pieces of bamboo, a stone-filled basin, a small solar pump, and a simple support that keeps the bamboo channels at alternating angles. The fountain grows upward rather than spreading across the patio. That is exactly why it works so well in a small space. Water is pumped from the basin to the highest bamboo channel. From there, it travels along the hollow piece and spills into the next one below. Then another, and another. Finally, the water falls back into the stone basin and begins the cycle again. The height difference between the bamboo pieces creates the sound. This is not the strong splash of the terracotta cascade. Bamboo gives the water a quieter, more organic rhythm, especially when the drops are kept short. Think of this fountain as something you listen to as much as something you look at. Place it beside a home office window, and you have gentle movement outside while you work. Put it near a bedroom patio or garden reading chair, and the sound becomes part of the background rather than demanding attention. For the decoration, keep it simple. Smooth black or gray stones in the basin. One fern or a clump of ornamental grass nearby. Perhaps one weathered piece of wood. That is enough. In a narrow patio or balcony, adding too many decorative objects around a water feature can make the entire space feel crowded. Bamboo already provides strong texture and vertical lines, so let those natural materials do the work. There is also an easy way to position the solar panel. Instead of attaching it to a roof, fence, or wall, mount the panel on a lightweight garden stake and place it in the sunniest nearby spot. That means no climbing and no permanent installation. The fountain itself can remain beside your chair or in a partially shaded corner while the panel receives stronger sunlight a few feet away. Keep the structure narrow enough to sit beside a chair rather than in front of it. This preserves your walking path and makes the feature feel integrated into the seating area. Depending on whether you already have bamboo in a basin, expect to spend approximately $20 to $38. Build time is around 1 to 1.5 hours. The result is simple: bamboo, stone, water, and sunlight. 4 basic elements, but together, they can turn one overlooked corner into a calm little retreat. And now we come to the final fountain, the most unexpected one of all, made from something designed for rainfall long before we ever thought of putting it in a garden. 6. The Outdoor Solar Shower Rainfall Fountain, the unexpected showstopper. Now we come to the most unexpected project on the list, an old shower head. It may sound strange at first, but think about what a shower head was designed to do. It takes one supply of water and divides it into dozens of small, evenly spaced streams that feel like rainfall. So instead of trying to build a rain effect from scratch, we simply reuse something that already does the job. For this fountain, mount an old shower head facing downward from a sturdy wooden post, a heavy bamboo support, an old metal pipe, or a simple garden frame. Below it, place a wide, shallow basin filled with smooth stones. Hide a small solar pump among those stones. Run the tubing from the pump up the back of the support and connect it to the shower head. Keeping the tube behind the post makes the whole feature look much cleaner from the front. Once sunlight reaches the solar panel, the pump sends water upward. Then the shower head does exactly what it was designed to do. A soft curtain of fine water falls back into the basin. The effect is different from every fountain we have built so far. A bubbling bowl gives you one concentrated sound. A terracotta cascade creates several separate splashes. This one creates something fuller: rainfall. That makes it especially useful if your small patio or backyard sits near a road or close to neighboring homes. The consistent falling water can soften those background sounds without becoming harsh or distracting. Keep the landscaping around it simple. Place ferns or ornamental grasses along one side of the basin, but leave the opposite side open. You want to see the falling water. And because the basin is wide and shallow, visiting birds also have an easy edge from which to approach the moving water. Choose the location carefully. Do not position the fountain directly beside a walkway where repeated splashing could make the surface slippery. Keep the reservoir stable and check the shower head occasionally for leaves or mineral buildup blocking the small spray holes. This is another project where reuse saves most of the budget. If you already have an old shower head, basin, and suitable support, expect to spend approximately $12 to $30, mainly on the solar pump and basic connection fittings. Build time is roughly 30 to 45 minutes. No household electricity, no buried cable, no expensive stone fountain, just a forgotten bathroom fixture, a basin of stones, and sunlight. And once you see that gentle rain falling into a garden corner, you may never look at an old shower head the same way again. Conclusion: simple materials, small spaces, peaceful results. You have now seen 6 completely different ways to bring moving water into a small outdoor space without running electricity from the house. And the most important lesson is not really about fountains. It is about seeing ordinary things differently. A ceramic bowl can become a bubbling spring. An old kettle can become a centerpiece. Terracotta pots can create a gentle cascade. Recycled containers can turn a blank wall into moving light. Bamboo can bring a quiet, natural rhythm to a small patio. And even an old shower head can create the sound of rainfall in your garden. None of these projects requires a large backyard. If you have a balcony, a rented deck, a narrow side yard, or just one chair beside a home office or bedroom window, you still have enough space to create something peaceful. Start with what you already own. Choose one container, add a small solar pump. Use stones, bamboo, terracotta, weathered wood, or plants you already enjoy. Then pay attention to placement. Keep walking paths clear. Put the water where you can hear it from your favorite chair. Place the solar panel where it receives reliable sunlight. And remember to keep the pump submerged, remove fallen leaves, and top up the basin when evaporation lowers the water level. You do not need to build all 6. One small fountain in the right corner can completely change how that space feels. So tell me in the comments, which of these 6 solar water features would you build first? And what old object in your home, garage, or garden shed could you turn into something beautiful? I would love to hear your idea. If you enjoy simple, affordable ways to decorate small homes, patios, balconies, bedrooms, home offices, and gardens, subscribe to Dream Room. And follow the channel for more practical DIY inspiration. Until next time, keep looking at the space you already have and imagine what it could become.